Alphabet Man, tearing down the strongholds, exposing the darkness, wrecking the enemy's plans. Endurance till the end. It's time for the Alphabet Man Live.
Man, I like that guy's voice. It's time for the Alphabet Man Live. I'm not the Alphabet Man, again, for the third time in a row, but I am happy to be here. Man, it feels good to know the Savior. It feels so good to be redeemed. I am so happy that I can hit my knees in the privacy of my own home and I can speak out and my words do not fall on deaf ears. I have a God in heaven to be here. This happens to me. It feels good to know the Savior. Hold on, guys. Sorry. It feels so good. Sorry, hang with me. It feels so good to be here. How'd this happen to me again? Yeah, in a completely different browser. So it feels so good that I can hit my knees and I can call out to God and I can have confidence that He is going to answer me, that He's going to hear me, and that He's going to answer me. Just a little bit about myself. I was a walking dead man, and God raised me from the dead. And He has done so much for me. I am compelled to live for Him. I am compelled to tell others about Him. I am compelled to try to do everything I can. Just, I think I have a like mind with the people that show up here at the Alphabet Man show and watch it later online and who are involved with the Salt and Light Brigade, that we want to rescue the victims, those being led to the slaughter. We want to preach the truth because we know there's hope and there is rescue for those caught up in the LGBT movement. And, coming up here in a couple months is the Occupy 2019 conference in Canton, Ohio. And I'm so excited about this. I am taking this so seriously. And I got so excited when Coach asked me to do this. And he made it easy for me because I usually don't know what to talk about. He said, "Tom, I want you to talk about human trafficking." I said, "Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it." And I just want to say this morning, I sincerely believe, even though this issue, the problem, is in the millions of people who are being trafficked, I believe in Canton, Ohio, on April 12th and 14th, that if we make ourselves obedient to God, that we can do a powerful work and that God can use us, His Spirit alive in us, His power, not our power, our obedience, but His power. We can do some damage to the enemy's kingdom. And that's what I'm going to show up and plan on doing. I'm moving forward and I'm looking forward to this conference as we are going to do some damage and we are going to change some hearts and some minds and we're going to get people active. That's what Coach asked us to do. Come to this conference and be prepared to get people active. That's your assignment. Move. Get people active. Get people involved. Boots on the ground, in the trenches. So I don't know what anybody else is going to talk about, but I'm talking about human trafficking. It is a serious problem, and that is a major understatement. But we are surrounded by people that we can't see who are being trafficked, whether it would be forced labor or sex trafficking, which is the biggest part of it. I've been doing research on this, and it's overwhelming. The number of people in my state, and the cases that are reported are just barely even a drop in the bucket to what we know is out there. So, guys, I sincerely believe that we can make a difference with the Spirit of God inside of us. I was a walking dead man. Let me tell you, I set out a couple years ago to make a film, and my life has not been the same since. The attacks that I have endured on myself and my family, the personal stuff that I've went through, 10 years ago, I couldn't handle it. I'll tell you that right now. I would have lost everything. My maturity level and my strategy and my ability to be strong and to armor up and to pray and to fight in spiritual warfare, I couldn't have made it 10 years ago. I really don't think I could have. And by the grace of God, he has done so much for me that I want to continue on in this fight. So I can't mention enough. Real quick, this is just something cool. A friend gave me these who works in human trafficking. She does all kinds of training, and she gave me all these pamphlets. And anybody that comes to the conference that wants, this is really good information in here on either that you can share with somebody else or that will be good for you. That anybody that wants any of this, we're going to give this out to everybody. Just information, but I just kind of want to share that this morning. I want to jump right into this first video, guys. And this is anybody that watches my show Through the Black knows this is the kind of stuff that we deal with and the kind of stuff that we expose. And again, hidden in plain sight. Super Bowl. Speaking of human trafficking, one of the biggest human trafficking events of the year is the Super Bowl, and they make all kinds of busts. But anyway, I'm not a sports guy. I don't even know who Tom Brady is. I think he plays for the Patriots, I'm pretty sure. And anyway, here is a some kind of a promo they were doing. You know, notice who the sponsor is, Gillette, the people who made this this anti-man commercial a few weeks ago, right? And they're interviewing, somebody here is interviewing Tom Brady, and they're asking him if he has any pregame superstitions. Now, anybody that knows anything about sports knows that athletes have these superstitions and things that they do, to try to bring them luck. Well, here, Tom Brady admits that he brings it to a whole nother level. And I want you to pay attention to some of the stuff he says about his wife. This is less than 2 minutes long. We're going to watch this, okay?
Going into the game, any special thing you carried into the game on Sunday that you had tucked away somewhere?
I did. I always, I've learned a lot from my wife over the years. And she's so about the power of intention, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones. And she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes. And I say all these mantras. And I stopped questioning her a long time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and by God, it worked. It was pretty good. And then in 2015, it was about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you? And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. Oh. And of course, we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, asking, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. And right after the game, she said, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
Okay, all right. I don't know, your average Joe American may not think of anything of it. Ha, 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 ha. Okay, let's get the kickoff going. What is a ritual? Okay. Basically, a ritual can be anything that invokes a demonic power to gain power. it doesn't matter if you call yourself a Satanist or not. Let's go to Deuteronomy real quick, Jared. Chapter 18, real quick, verse starting at what do I have here? 9. So I just want to share this warning here. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. So at the beginning of this verse, he's talking about human sacrifice. Okay? Verse 11, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that, excuse me, for all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. So here we go. God says, don't do these things. He's like, I'm not, and he doesn't even explain why, but he knows that this is dangerous for us. So we're watching, we see, maybe we don't even see this, this information, but, people are watching football games, and they're, the Super Bowl, biggest game of the year. And even though the numbers are way down, because I think people are sick of the distraction, and people are on to the circus, that's distracting us from the truth. But people are watching this, and they don't realize that there are people involved in this game that are involved in summoning demonic presence to help them. Now, I don't know if the demonic presence helped them win or not. I'm not going to say that it did, but I'm not so naive to think that, that there's not power in what they do. So I don't know if anybody saw the video that I made from last summer, where I went down to the abortion clinic, and the death squirts down there were doing rituals, were performing witchcraft rituals in the parking lot. The next week I went back, and there were rune stones all over the ground where the pro-life workers work. That was done specifically to gain power, to consecrate, quote unquote, the ground for their purposes. So yeah, there we go. Witch cover and perform spell outside of abortion clinic. If you just look at this picture that's on there now, okay, you can see two people here, and I think there's one out of the screen. And so these guys, yeah, okay, and there's three people there now, you can see, and they were coming together and invoking or summoning demonic presence. Now, they probably wouldn't call it demonic presence. That, it's kind of fascinating, because I've watched this specific group for over a year and a half, and when I first ran into them, they were not involved in this activity at this level, okay? But they have grown, so to speak, right? And now they are, from everything I can tell you, they are getting involved in religious Satanism, and probably, well, there's different denominations of Satanism, but many Satanists will tell you they are atheistic. They don't believe in God or the devil. And okay, if you don't, then what presence are you summoning? Why are you doing a ritual? What's going on? They believe in something supernatural. They're summoning some kind of presence, and it's not for blessing. Okay? So, and they are trying to curse us. And I'm telling you that your average pro-life worker, because this is happening in Columbus, but I've seen evidence and I've seen reports of this happening in other places in the country, okay? So your average pro-life worker needs to up their game, and you can't just go into this with a sign. You need to go into this equipped with the armor, with the full armor of God, with prayer and intercession and just asking God just to completely demolish the demonic presence that shows up that they bring with them. And I'm telling you, I've been to these places, and what's interesting is I've been down to Founders, and I've been there when they've been doing abortion, and I've been there when they're not, when the place is closed. And there's a difference, okay? Because when they're shedding blood, when they're shedding human blood, the demonic love human blood. It empowers the demonic. They love it. They love murder. Murder, somebody killing somebody in a fit of rage may not necessarily be a ritual, okay? And that person may not be involved in the occult, but the demonic love the shedding of human blood. That's why a lot of rituals involve bloodletting that don't necessarily involve human sacrifice. I'm kind of going down this road here, but it's necessary. As Christians, we sing the song, there's power in the blood, power in the blood. And the other side believes the exact same thing. There's power in the blood. And they not only do they believe it, they practice it. So this has been over 5 years ago. I was at a conference in Missouri, and it was called Future Congress. And I met a guy there. I tried to track this guy down. We were just kind of talking behind the scenes there. And this guy lived in San Francisco, and he worked for a restaurant that did catering. And his restaurant got hired to cater an event at Bohemian Grove. Okay, so I don't know if anybody knows what Bohemian Grove is. It's a place out north of San Francisco, towards Sacramento, or it's way out in the middle of nowhere. But basically, it is a camp for politicians, mostly Republicans. They have a giant owl there on this campsite, so Jared's looking it up right now. So this guy tells me this story about how he got hired, his restaurant got hired to cater an event out of Bohemian Grove. Okay. Now, July 15th is the big day of Bohemian Grove. It's called the Cremation of Care. It's a ritual. It's a mock human sacrifice that a lot of politicians show up at, and they just, they watch this thing, right? And it's a fake. I mean, I wouldn't even let anybody babysit my kids that was watching a fake human sacrifice. So sorry, I keep going down a rabbit trail. But this guy's telling me he went to Bohemian Grove and they were catering a meal, and there was a football, and I'm not a sports guy. There you go. There's the picture that we're looking for. So what you're looking at now is hidden video, I think, or pictures of Bohemian Grove. Okay. Of course, everybody knows Alex Jones snuck into this place and got hidden video. I don't know if this is the video. This looks more like a photograph. There's the video of the actual ritual. So he went to this place to cater a meal, and there was a football player there, and he was given specific instructions. They told him, do not look anybody in the eye. These are celebrities there, and they are a lot more important and a lot more powerful than you are. Don't look them in the eye. This guy, I like this guy. He didn't care. He's like, I don't care. He's like, I'm not afraid to look anybody in the eye. And but there was an event that took place there, and he didn't know how to describe it. But when he described it to me, I would say it was some kind of a weird ritual. Okay. And this guy told me that, and again, I'm not a sports guy, and I don't know the names of these guys, but he told me, he said, after that event at Bohemian Grove, where this young sports celebrity was there, his career turned around after that event. So one of the things that we're very familiar with is Hollywood is involved in these things, but don't forget about the sports celebrities and the things, I mean, these guys are seeking out occult power to do this. We're surrounded by occultists. We can know this by looking at God's word. We can know this by looking at Pharaoh, by looking at Nebuchadnezzar, by looking at Herod and Pilate and the things that they were doing. And so We got to up our game. We've got to up our game. And I know I keep harping on this, and people ask, how do you up your game? Double what you're doing. Double what you're doing. By God's grace, I'm sitting here today because the things that I've been through in the last 2 years have just been nuts, have just been crazy. I'm not complaining, but I'm saying this is a testimony to God rescuing me from just craziness this last couple years. And they always say, you're over the target when you're getting the flack. Well, we've gotten the flack, and he does not want these things exposed. So, guys, I want to encourage you. I believe sincerely with all my heart that we can do a powerful work. We can make a difference. Coach is leading something right now, and he is pouring his life into these people to try and get them to move. And when we watch what's happening, when we get on the internet, whether we look at the Drudge Report or we look at whatever news source we look at, it seems hopeless. But I believe in revival. I believe God can move. I believe that just like what he did, for Daniel. Daniel was a man surrounded by occultists, by all these politicians. And God rose him up in that government, protected him and used him. And if you read Daniel chapter 1, Daniel was the man. He was smarter than every one of these guys. There's no reason that he should have lived through what he lived through. He should have been killed. He should have been killed the first time by the world standards, right? And they, the king had a dream. And if you look at Daniel chapter 1 and 2, and he said, I want you to tell me what this dream was and what it means. And his witches, the people that surrounded him that were involved in the occult, he's like, there's nobody that can do this. There's nobody that can do this. And so the king put out, he's like, I'm going to kill everybody if somebody doesn't give me an answer. And Daniel went back to his friends and he said, guys, pray for me. You need to pray for me. He said, we're in a lot of trouble right now. And God gave Daniel the answer. He told him what the dream was and what it meant. I don't know who God's going to raise up, but I just want to be willing and ready to do whatever he asked me to do. Whether it's speak at a handful of conferences or do a video show or show up on the front lines and pray for the unborn. Good things are happening, guys. The number of abortion clinics that we've had in the last 15, 10, 5 years has went down. And I don't know the exact numbers. My daughter could tell you probably a lot better than I have. But in some states, we're down to 1 abortion clinic. And that's exciting. But let me tell you this. I don't know what state's going to be first. I'm praying it's Ohio. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Just let it be Kentucky. Let it be Louisiana. Get rid of the abortion clinics. Shut them down. And you know what? We'll say, hey, it's because we prayed and because we repented, not because anybody in government helped us. And we'll take all the help we can get. Don't get me wrong. I'm totally cool if they pass laws and they shut it down. I'm totally cool with that, but I'm not counting on anybody, not even the president, to do this. Because it's our job, really. It's our job as followers of Jesus Christ to help, to visit and to watch out for the orphans and the widows and to rescue those who are being led to the slaughter and to tell the truth. We've got the hope. We've got the hope for the LGBTQRS, the whole alphabet. That's how we got the name of the show. We have the hope. And they may not want that. They may not want that, but you know what? We just plant seeds. We plant seeds, and we may not get to see those seeds, grow or come to fruition. Somebody else might water our seeds. Somebody else might get to harvest it. I don't know, but we're called to plant seeds, but we have the hope. And I am just overjoyed this morning because of all the amazing things God has done in my life. And I think back, and I've got things in my life that I hope nobody ever finds out about, just like you do. Just like you do. We all do. And man, God has been so good to us. 2019, I don't care. I don't care if it's February 12th. It's New Year's Day. It's New Year's Day. What can we do? This is going to be an amazing year, and I cannot wait to see what happens as a result for the training of these conferences that are coming up this year. And we have the Occupy conference. I'm doing a workshop in New York with Russ and Coach, and Dr. Mike Spalding has a conference at his church that's coming up that's going to be very similar to Coach's conference, and Hear the Watchman, and all these things are going on, guys. And I love what Coach says. He's like, a lot of people got a big head, but they got a little body. He's like, we got to get the body strong. We got to get people out on the street working, fulfilling the Great Commission. We got to get good at telling our testimony. We got to get good at telling our testimony. Yeah, here's another example, guys. I want to touch on this real quick. I sent this link to Jared. This is something that's happening, and I can't even read all this, but you guys, I'm not even going to say some of this stuff down. Go down a couple there, Jared. This is what's going on. This is sponsored by Ohio State University. Okay, they are having an event this week called right there. Stop right there. Calling Sex Week. Okay, and it's all of these events and all these programs and seminars celebrating sex. Okay, worshiping sex. And the thing about it is, they don't even have a clue what they're talking about. My God invented it. Why aren't Christians talking about this? It was his idea, and used in the context of the way that he created it. It's amazing. But these guys don't even know what they're doing. So anyway, February 13th, an event sponsored by Ohio State University, Fighting Abortion Stigma, with Planned Parenthood. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. But you know what? Let's not get discouraged. Let's not get discouraged. Speaking of human trafficking, speaking of everything wicked and evil, Planned Parenthood, Father, I just ask in Jesus' name, help us to shut down this organization. Help us to shut down this organization. These guys are just connected to everything. These guys are connected to everything. If you look, you can look up, and we got just a couple minutes here. Look up the story of how the Satanists helped Planned Parenthood in the state of Missouri raise their abortion numbers. And when I do a presentation, I show two headlines. One, the Satanists say, hey, we're going to help these guys out. And then a year later is the next headline that says, hey, look at all the abortions that we've done. Yeah. Here, real quick. Missouri has reportedly doubled its abortion capacity this year thanks to the Satanic Temple and Planned Parenthood. Satanic Temple, Planned Parenthood, human trafficking, Planned Parenthood, abortion. Guys, show up. Show up. Show up in the prayer closet. I hope you guys make it to Occupy. I hope you guys make it to Go Therefore or wherever. There's lots of opportunities to get involved and to do stuff. So this is gonna be a great year. I'm gonna be back tomorrow morning with a brand new trailer for David Arthur's film. You can find the film for sale, pre-sale at fireandbrimstonefilm.com if you want to get in on that. There's a special that we're doing where you can get a copy of the book by Vicki Joy Anderson, The Emperor's New Gender. I honestly don't know anything about the book, but David recommended it. So guys, good things are happening. Make sure you say a prayer for David Arthur. He's having a rough time. He's been through it this week, and I've been there. I know what it's like to be just beat up and just life experiences, and he needs our encouragement and he needs our prayers. So Father, we just ask God, watch over David, help him and strengthen him. Guys, I will see you tomorrow morning with a new trailer. Thanks for hanging out with me. God bless you.